So map 3 of this best of 5, and we are already on the ace game. Deadless Point is going to play host, and this is going to be very good news for our Zerg player, who's spawning up in the top left-hand position. He's 2-0 up, one map away from taking this, a 3-0 sweep, and therefore would mean that he won 50 euros and of course a spot in the monthly finals. He represents Team Acer. It's Nerchio. And his opponent, to the bottom left, bottom right rather, the green Protoss player. Match point now for the rest of this series, sLh. Being on match point is incredibly stressful. So stressful. Because you're 2-0 down. It's not like you just got to win one game. You've got to win 3 in a row after losing 2 in a row. Not very good odds for you. Nerchio, he's also looked very solid. And there's one final reason this is pretty bad times for sLh. It's Deadless Point. Now that's not terrible anymore. This ramp is a bit smaller, so it's a bit harder to get on up, but it's still a long way away, and that makes it quite difficult to get the wall down anyway. But also the third. It's so wide, so open, 3 paths in, incredibly easy for a Zerg player to get an absolutely humongous surround and concave through, and that can make it just so hard for a Protoss player to take the win. So this is almost certainly Nerchio's map pick. Can he make it work? Well, Nerchio, he's opened up with a pull first into a hatchery, so he's opening pretty safe. His own Overlord just coming to check over to see whether or not the natural's been taken. When we saw the early natural in the previous series, Nerchio did opt for a fast third. Whether or not he's going to do the same again, whether or not we're even going to see a fast third from fast natural rather from sLh, we'll have to wait and see. But for the moment, sLh just adding in the assimilator. Just one of them, adding in the cybercore, and isn't going to be rushing out that Nexus because he is currently allowing that Zealot to finish up. If you want the Nexus earlier, you cancel the Zealot. It's that simple. So you're not going to be seeing that for the moment. Instead, a safe play coming through. And most of that is because sLh opting not to probe scout this game, whereas he has done in the previous 2 maps. So, can Nerchio throw something interesting out? Well, he's got 4 Lings, yet again coming to poke and prod, but they're unlikely to achieve much since the Zealot has been allowed to finish. So this is a slight adaptation in sLh's play. No second Zealot coming through, and the Lings are a little bit faster, so they're going to be heading straight on up. But the Mothership Core has nearly been finished. The key benefit here is that we get a nice little scout coming down from Nerchio to just see everything that's coming through. One probe is going to die. Getting any kind of probe kills early on is a big, big win for Nerchio and any Zerg player. Nerchio also adds in his 3rd base. Very, very early 3rd base, it's worth noting. That came down like a minute ago, so that's like 3 minutes 50. The general timings that you'd be seeing a 3rd if it was some kind of Forge Fast Expand, and to be honest, a Nexus first play. So Nerchio being very greedy. 2 additional gates coming down. There is the 2nd gas up this game, but note there isn't a single probe in it. Did Nerchio see that? No. So Nerchio doesn't even know whether it's up or not, but regardless it's not being mined. So any attempt of mine gaming or something like that wouldn't have done anything, and it would have been totally wasted for Nerchio. But Nerchio does get back in now, heading straight up in towards the main base. So what he wants to know is whether or not there is a 3rd gateway in production, and therefore that same 4-gate Zealot pressure. The Ling's going to be heading straight over to that 2nd gas to see if that's down. We'll see some probes mining from it. They got brought through just in time. Nothing else really seen, so it's just 2 additional gates, and therefore there should be some tech added through shortly. Nerchio droning, adding in a couple of Lings just to have a map presence to try and deny any proxy pylons that are about. Rotoron, of course, coming up as well. That keeps him nice and safe. sLh is still keeping those 3 probes in gas ready to just keep that income going. It's not some kind of mind game coming down from him there. Nerchio, though, is going to have to contend with a couple of Zealots, but only 3 gates worth. So the Queens and a couple of Lings shouldn't have much of a problem dealing with this. You can see the Queen's backing away, the Zealots now starting to get killed, and with so many Zerglings down on the field, 14 of them, shouldn't be able to do too much. The pylon trying to get sniped off, that immediately cancels those 3 zealots. And with this, Nerchio should take minimal damage. Even though a Time Warp has come down, the Damage Queen looks able to escape. The Mothership Core being targeted first. The Damage Queen transfuses ASAP and is even going to survive regardless of taking that damage. So good news there for Nerchio. He's looking in a good position. Is he going to be able to scout down the fact that a Stargate's coming through? Well, he knows that a pylon's there. He knows that that is quite a likely location to be seeing some kind of tech. And he's got an Overlord in a good position. But he may not even need that. He's coming in now with some Lings, going to poke at the front, try and take a little peek at what's coming through. But usually if he doesn't see anything here, in the previous maps at least, he's sent an Overlord in just to get the confirmation. So a Roach is getting pushed back now by a Mothership Core. It would take a very, very long time though to kill it, and therefore not too much really achieved by that. None of the Overlords as of yet getting sacrificed in. One now going forward, sees the Stargate as it finishes up. And more importantly, he's going to be able to see what actually comes out of this Stargate. And that's what Nerchio is going to be keeping a close eye on. A Phoenix got started and then cancelled again. So doesn't want to reveal, for the moment at least, that that's what's coming down. Nerchio may have been looking as like a little ninja look. The Overlord still in a good position. Chrono Boost being spent on that Void Ray. Is it going to get cancelled and start for something else? No. If it was going to, it would have been as soon as the Overlord died. But with the Chrono Boost, I didn't think that it would get cancelled anyway. So this is now going to be a very strong mid and late game with these Void Rays coming out. But it does leave sLh slightly vulnerable earlier on. Especially if a lot of Hydras were to hit the field. For the moment though, Nerchio, as I say that, doesn't have a Hydra Den. As he starts a Hydra Den. Should now actually be in a very good spot. We're going to see a third attempt from sLh. Nerchio up at 64 drones, which is pretty much exactly where he wants to be. Maybe going up to 66. He's oversaturated somewhere. No, so should go up to 66 just to fully saturate this base. Needs 16 drones in the minerals. There we go, 66. All good times. And now he's probably just going to go for a lot of aggression. Try and cancel this third. The Overlord, has actually Nerchio seen this? No. So he doesn't know it's here, but he can probably suspect since there hasn't been any kind of timing push yet. So in he goes, a lot of Lings. He's going to want to try and engage this army head on, but with good force fields and backed into a corner, probably not going to be doable. Waiting for the Hydras now. Having seen the Void Ray, confirmed that it exists, is going to just be getting as many Hydras out as possible. Ling Hydra is very strong against this composition. Roaches not so much, because obviously they take bonus damage from the Void Ray, especially with prismatic alignment enabled. And therefore you don't want to be trying to pump out that many Roaches when you don't really need much tankiness. We've also got the Infestation Pit coming down. A couple of different ways you can use this Infestation Pit. With the +1 melee, it's unlikely, I suspect, for this to be any kind of quick Swarm Host play or something like that. Could be just for a quick hive. Could also be for Infestors. Infestors up against a Sky Toss composition is very good. Swarm Host wouldn't be terrible either, it's worth noting though. There's no splash damage, so they could be quite effective. A Lone Colossus is also coming through now, and that means that obviously there's splash to help deal with this Ling Hydra composition, which somewhat puts a timer on what Nerchio is going to be doing. But Nerchio adding in now Pathogen Glands, so he is going to be going for some Infestors, which I think is a really good choice, because if your opponent is committing to a Sky Toss composition, it stacks, and therefore Fungal Growth can really root everything in place, allowing those Hydras to get in, as well as dish out some good damage. But Nerchio is going to be going for this now. The Hydras trying to get out some good shots. There is still that Immortal there. A couple of Hydras heading up in towards the natural base as well. This is incredibly annoying for sLh, who's going to lose that Void Ray. Still has a decent number of units on the ground, but Broken Overcharge isn't able to achieve that much. The Mothership Core does die. The first Colossus out on the field. Where is it to be seen though? Just at the natural base, actually trying to fend off a couple of Lings at the moment, taking a lot of damage in doing so. Triple Void Ray production coming through, but Pathogen Glands is now finished. So that's why we see some Infestors coming through. Infestors can actually be started 30 seconds after Pathogen Glands has been, because Infestors take 50 seconds and therefore the remaining time on Pathogen Glands is done before the Infestor pops. So, nice little trick for any new Zerg players. Otherwise, Hive just finished up. We've got the +1 ranged upgrades coming through here for Nerchio. And he's already got the +1 melee. So going to be going up into into Ultralisks rather. Now the Ultras are a bit more of an interesting choice, because the Void Rays will be very effective against them. They are armoured, Void Rays will deal massive damage to armoured units, and also the Ultras can't engage them directly. But what the Ultras do allow is a bit more tankiness into this heavy Hydra force. And with the fungal growths as well, they'll be able to close up the distance. So as we're approaching 14.5 minutes through this game, look at the army supplies. Nerchio 78 to 49. Long way ahead there, up in overall army supply, and is now aiming to catch this Colossus out of position. Gonna be able to take that down with +1 Ling attack, and with no additional damage, that's everything taken down. GG is called, and Nerchio wins this series and wins the final 3-0, meaning that he wins €50 and of course a spot in the monthly finals. sLh though won't go home empty-handed and wins €20.